Football Update. It's with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Schomber.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, Mr. We Will Fix the Showers. You know who it is. What half of that duo that is college football update. You know what it is. Hey, we're here on a Tuesday. You see, we're not with our guy. He's still on cloud 1009, just going off, enjoying himself. We're going to break down that game. But before we do, I got a round table of college people on here. You see who I'm with. The guy right next to me, I'm glad that he's out. He's making appearances. We have to talk about one of those games. Ben, I'm sorry, but I'm just glad you're on here, man.
Hey, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. And I see what you did there, dude. I'll let it slip by tonight. I'm lucky I'm in a decent kind of mood. But yeah. But anyway.
Bro, if you don't know by now, he's like an assassin. He'll get you. Just walk by you with a box cutter. Zap, zap. Get your pockets and be gone with your wallet.
Yeah. That's what I was missing. Damn it.
Yo, yeah, and you see who is right beneath him. The guy is his team actually gave him the slaughtering of the thing, and one half of that show this week in Georgia football. My guy, Mr. Anthony Handy. What up, Anthony?
What's going on, y'all? It's good to be part of wow, I think this is the first college show I've done all season outside of the UGA show. I don't know. I did. I was gonna say I was just checking my mail before I came on. I ain't seen no invite or nothing. It's just, but I got one today, so I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet because you could knock me off the show real quick.
I was gonna say you're in the land of the teams that have lost, but then you saw the game this past couple weeks, so maybe you haven't lost. You have a winning streak again.
Hey, every winning streak begins with one.
Oh, yes. Yes. Speaking of winning streaks and blowing teams completely off the map, Mr. Quack Quack himself, Alec Schomber. What up, Alec?
Tez Johnson is our new wide receiver one.
Ooh. He's the new guy? He's replacing Troy Franklin?
Don't down the GOAT's name like that, but yes. Tez Johnson and Trayshawn Holden is our next 1-2 punch at receiver.
Okay. I can dig it. Well, look, hey, guys, we're here. College football is going on. Obviously, we are coming down to the very end of the season. The bowl games are going. We're going to talk about a couple of them in a minute, but let's just go right into what everybody wants to talk about. College football semifinals just happened on New Year's. Happy New Year's, by the way. Welcome to 2024.
Merry New Year. I'm very happy to be here. You said it twice tonight. Yes, because I did the other show later, and I say it again.
So, but definitely. So these games were definitely a highlight to my New Year's Day, and they were as advertised. They lived up to all expectations. Michigan coming back late in the game and then in overtime to get the win against Alabama, man. Ben, this one, went back and forth. You had Michigan's defense dominating, just blowing this thing up, and then all of a sudden, Bama's run game starts to turn it up. Then Bama's up late, and Michigan, you had everything in this game, went to overtime. What did you see? What did you like, man? And what are your thoughts, man?
Well, I'll tell you, this was a game where it was really a defensive battle. If you really think about it, both teams stepped up, played well defensively. Both teams were able to get to the quarterback at times. Jalen Milroe, though, I got to say, I was very impressed with him. I thought, coming into this game, this is, the big stage now. He did well against, Georgia. I'll give him that. Sorry, Anthony. But,
we are going to talk about our game later. Remember that.
I know. Yes, we are, unfortunately. But I thought Michigan's defense is just so good. I thought they would really, just fluster him. But what they did with Alabama, they made adjustments. He ran the ball more. He used his legs. He was able to get past that Michigan defense. He picked up several first downs, and he was really the star of that offense for Alabama because, look, the running game for Alabama didn't really do much. It was Jalen Milroe in the second half that got it going. And, for Michigan, I got to say, J.J. McCarthy was great. Just really great. I mean, he played like he was probably the best quarterback we've seen in the bowl games so far. Maybe not statistically, but just control-wise, from start to finish, just willed that team to win and made a key fourth down pass that, kept him in the game and got him eventually that touchdown late with Corum, running it in, and it went to overtime. So, I mean, Michigan made the plays down the stretch when they mattered, and they were able to get the win. And finally, Jim Harbaugh got that big win in a college football semifinal. That was he's got that weight off his shoulders, at least this game. Now he's in the national title game.
Oh yeah, and we cannot downplay that, and we can't downplay who he did it against. Anthony, this guy. You have gone against Saint Nick time and time again. You've had to face them. You just went through that. This game wasn't a blowout. This game, Michigan had to prove that they can win it, and with 4 minutes left in the game, Alabama was up, and firm control. Talk to me about kind of what Alabama is, but what happened towards the end that kind of when they gave the game away.
One of the things about Alabama this season is Alabama. You and I have talked about this ad nauseum over the several years that I've been, we've been back and forth now. Alabama has always suffered from what I have called repeatedly an embarrassment of riches. This year, for some reason, though, I don't know if it's just because they've lost so many players to the NFL over the course of the last several years.
And the
transfer portal and NIL and that kind of thing, is that they weren't able, like normally Alabama would be able to reload. That's a big thing with Kirby at Georgia, is the defense always had fresh legs. And for some reason and then of course Blake Corum. What else can you say about? I can't really say too much about Blake Corum that hasn't already been said. That last touchdown in overtime said it all. It didn't matter. You could have had Reggie White. You could have had Reggie White and Mean Joe Green and Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and James Harrison on that front five, and Corum was getting in that end zone. He might have been missing an arm and a half a foot, but he was getting in that end zone. So I honestly, I think that, look, we talk about who wants it more. How bad do you want it? Michigan wanted it better than Alabama did, I think. Basically, at the end of the day, and that's saying something, because Nick Saban generally can find a way to get his guys motivated.
Yeah, I thought he was going to keep him back in it. Alec, like Handy said, Corum took over the game. When Corum gets a touchdown in the game, I think they said like the last 31 games they're undefeated. You know what I mean? Know what we all talked about it in the chat. Where's Corum going to fall in the draft? Where could he move up? Where can he move down? But even if you look through this game, at the beginning, when I first saw this game, they started passing all the time. I'm like, what are y'all doing? When you go to the dance, you dance with the one who brung you. Corum is the guy. I don't care if you run goal line with two running backs. Still do it, and Corum is still going to get that yards with the line. So talk to us about, Michigan, this finally becoming what we thought they were going to be.
I mean, like you said, you got to ride with the hot hand like you had all year. And it's like you can see like the first half, like they were slowly getting involved, and then they stepped back. And then third quarter, they were trying again, and they stepped back. And then when it came down to I guess they thought each drive that they stopped Alabama, they said, okay, well, if we could stop them, we can we don't got to worry about them scoring again. And once Nick Saban, he's known for second half adjustments.
Yep.
Certain team in the SEC does, Georgia. like they do, but
I mean, just saying. Please
but
continue.
oh, like they use like so the fourth quarter, like you can like once they went to overtime, you can sense like they were like, you know what, let's just run the ball and just
Yep.
pray our defense stops. And as
Yep.
soon as they started, like they gave Corbin a touchdown, and it was just that was that. It's because I think he only had like 21 rush attempts
Yeah.
in that game, but it's like with Alabama, like they were like you could if you have a great running back like that, you gotta use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Because like if you noticed how JJ is, like he does these unnecessary passes that are not needed. Like it'd be like short routes, like he'll
Hero
try to
syndrome.
pass, and they'll be like double. It would be in double coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, what the heck are you doing? And then you see the
Hero
run
ball.
the ball, and be
Yeah.
like, oh, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So
I noticed that. I noticed that, especially. I mean, and I'm not going to take anything away from that last drive because that
yeah,
was great. I mean, Ben, you talked about it. I mean, he was hitting people. That fourth down was amazing. But I'm not going to lie. I texted in the group chat. I said, all right, this is the time to be great because up to that point, McCarthy really. He was the one thing I thought was holding them back a little bit. I mean, the run game was so strong. That defense, Alex and I talked about this all year, about that defense is one of the most underrated defenses in the country. You know what I mean? And it's because there is so much star power. Anthony, what's up? Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say that's a Michigan defense that is quite possibly, and Michigan has been the cream of the crop of the Big Ten for a bit. That is quite possibly the best Michigan defense I have seen. This year's defense, and more specifically, last night's defense.
Right.
Because that was I think the touchdown, the Blake Corum touchdown, like Alec was saying, was the catalyst. It was like he got him amped up because the defense they were very good, but they were kind of hot and cold because Jalen would come out there and move the ball downfield real quick. Them boys tightened up. They huddled together on the sideline. They said, we got to make this stop. They tighten up and they shut it down.
I mean, I think there's one point in the group chat where Ben was sitting there saying, would they need a turnover? And then, like, literally the next play, they recovered the fumble. And it's just like,
yep, turned it over. Yeah.
And I mean,
like, the biggest worry was like that missed field goal or the extra point definitely was like, I was like, please don't let that be the field goal that cost him the game.
Yeah.
That's all in 2020. I was like, oh, this would have been the win right here. But I was like, I'm glad. Like, I mean, with that game, like if you weren't watching that game, you were missing out on the best 4 quarters I've seen in college football playoffs.
Yeah.
I can't really say because I didn't get to watch the Sugar Bowl, so I can't really vouch for that game. But that was the greatest 4 quarters I've seen in the Rose Bowl game in quite possibly like 4 years.
It was beautiful. It truly was. But look, you mentioned the other game, so let's go ahead and get into it. I know you got some choice words, so I'm gonna let you simmer for a second. I'm gonna let you simmer and let these other guys talk. Anthony, I'm gonna come to you. Washington holds off Texas, and you know what I want to say. I want to say we're back and everything like this. And I don't know, there was a part of me that wanted to message you if they would have won and be like, how you like me now, but that's why I can't do it.
You know what though? I have to give Texas their credit. They finally, the glass ceiling for them was getting to the playoffs.
CFP. Yeah.
Okay, getting to the CFP. They broke that glass ceiling. So I'm giving them all their props. And trust and believe, I was all ready to queue up. We're back the next time me and Colin were on if they won last night. But it was and I could not stay up past the first half because I had to get up early this morning. Got to go back to do the 9 to 5. But I mean, I find and this is only shocker only the second time this season I got a chance to see Quinn Ewers play. And I think he did. I was more impressed when he was in the Big 12 championship. He seemed more in command in that game. This game, he was good. He was very good, but he didn't impress. I'm Shania Twain back in 1998. He didn't impress me as much, Okay, so you could throw a football. That don't impress me much.
Mm.
They did well.
Yeah.
But hey, Penix is the truth.
Mm.
Penix is the truth. I did not know who he was. I just kept hearing his name all the time. And I kept saying, I don't know what the Penix is. I thought they were mispronouncing a part of the body or trying to say pencil or something like that. And then I saw the boy throwing the ball all over the field and people were catching the ball and he was flipping it behind his. I mean, dude, the stuff that I see Michael Penix do this year, I forgot who it was. What's the guy's name that everybody hates because they say he loves Alabama? Gary Danielson, I think it was. Danielson. Danielson said Michael Penix is out here like Neo in the Matrix, and everybody else is just NPCs.
Wow.
And I got this is the first time I got to see a full half of football of Penix. Penix was insane.
I gotta agree. Alec, I know you're not gonna like this, and that's why I'm gonna go to you, Ben. I mean, 29 completions, 430 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, the guy balled out in the biggest game. Like Chris is saying, the O-line gave him all the protection in the world. But that was the one thing I was trying to see. What could he do against a good defense? The two defensive linemen are two NFL prospects. One of them was the Butt Kiss Award, the defensive lineman of the year. So this is a prominent defense, and that secondary is no slouch, and he torched them. So Ben, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, I don't think it's any surprise how good Michael Penix Jr. is. I don't think there's any surprise at all. I mean, the guy is just so talented. The only thing that's really kept him from being even better has been injuries. If he could just stay healthy, I mean, this is probably one of the best quarterbacks coming up in the draft. I would even put him over Caleb Williams and Drake May. Sorry, Sean.
Okay, careful with the Drake May. I was gonna say, do you see his Sean kind of preempted you. He just went dark
just
before
Homer
you said
Simpson into the to his profile. Oh, there he is. He's back. No, but yeah, I mean, he just has it all. He has a quiet confidence. They were talking about how before the game, during the pre-show, how he got together. He players only meeting. Yeah. When he got on campus to Washington after transferring from Indiana, he was like a magnet. Everybody just clinged on to him, his personality. I mean, he has that quiet confidence. It's not braggadocious or anything like that. It's a quiet confidence that, yeah, I know I'm good, but I got guys that can, poke Odunze that make me even look better. I mean, those guys were balling out last night as well, And I thought the rushing for Washington was pretty good. The run game was helped. I know Penix he had like 31 yards rushing, but Johnson was running the ball pretty decently, not great, but still, I mean, Penix just makes that team legit. And I thought Texas would win only because I felt like their defense, like you're saying, Sean, with two NFL prospects on the defensive line, would get to Penix a little bit. And Washington, being in the Pac-12, they've played a lot of teams that don't play really good defense at all. I thought that would maybe get to Penix, but
talking to you, Lincoln Riley. I said that out loud.
But Michael Penix did a great job, just carving that defense up last night.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah. Now, Alec, I'm gonna come to you and I'm gonna set you up, man, because listen, you exactly what Ben said. You got Odunze, you got Polk, you got McMillan, you got the run game, you got all NFL caliber talent, and he can do it with all NFL caliber talent. But is he really that good, or is it all the NFL caliber talent around him? Talk to us.
It's just funny, honestly, that people think Michael Penix is literally him. But if you see the Washington receiving core is rated top 5 in the CFB, and people look at Penix like he's some kind of god. But when you see it, when he goes to the NFL, I don't care what anybody says, he will be a bust. Because if you put any quarterback in that offense, they will put the same numbers up that he will. But people don't look at that.
You ain't got to laugh, Greg. You
as
ain't
a, as
got
a
to
as a
lie.
Pac-12 fan and seeing how he plays all year, ain't nothing special.
Wow.
Without receiving core, without if they had Jim and Steve at receiver, they probably wouldn't do nothing. And it's just like
So any quarterback,
any quarterback can plug and play in that offense and be a
any
top.
quarterback.
Yes.
So we can put that. So we could take Desmond Ritter
He
and put him out
reminds
there.
me of Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. I'll say it.
Johnny Manziel was hard to tackle because he was drunk.
And
He was
people
playing
think
drunken monkey style.
okay, you know what? I'll sit back and laugh in 5 years when that man's on the trade block, probably waived. It's okay. I get it. You guys are
Well, you know what?
blinded.
You know what though? Here's the thing: because he is that good, he'll probably wind up going to some crap team. And you understand what I'm saying? It's not like he's going to get picked up by the San Francisco 49ers, or he's going to get picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles, or he's going to get picked up by one of these top tier teams in the league. He's going to go to a crap team. Trevor Lawrence is flourishing in spite of the Jaguars. Although the Jaguars have, out of all the teams that have been languishing at the bottom of the league, and I know this is in the NFL show, but just since we talk college quarterbacks, the Jaguars have done the most to rebuild. Chicago is doing Justin is doing the doggone thing. He just said, I'm gonna take the team on my shoulders and I'm gonna go with it. Kyler all of a sudden, I guess, decided he was gonna stop playing Call of Duty and show up and play on Sunday. But most of the time, you take a really good look. What's your boy named Big Head little brother? He said, I don't want to go to San Diego because San Diego sucked. So he wound up getting a trade to New York. Because if he had gone to San Diego, he'd have been gone in 2 or 3 years because San Diego sucked at that point.
Yep. And then Phillip went there. Oh yeah. But look, hey, so to Alex's point, and to something you've actually said, Ben, the one thing that I do have drawbacks is we cannot overlook his time in Indiana and all of the injuries and how he could not complete a season. And so thankful that he's able to have this season, this resurgence to get this shot. But at the same time, the best ability is availability, especially in the NFL. And he might need to beef up or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he's definitely gonna have to, in the NFL, the game's faster, the speed's faster, and he's gonna have to get the ball out quicker. He already does, but he's gonna have to get it out quicker. He does have good pocket awareness already. I kind of more just with the injuries, just bad luck. Just bad luck, I think, with the injuries. I mean, torn ACLs are usually kind of injuries that most of the time they're non-contact. And I believe a couple of those knee injuries were non-contact for Penix. So it's really just bad luck, but if he can stay healthy, this guy, I disagree with Alec.
I'm sorry.
I think
I don't mean to laugh, but that seems to be our favorite word on all of these podcasts. If he stays healthy, and that's the truth. You said he got an AC. You said he got an ACL. He got that RG3. Ooh.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
All I gotta say is it's like a person with the keys to a Lambo. He had the keys to a Lambo all season. And it's just like why I say bust, I'm not like where he says like he has like 1,000-yard seasons. He's probably gonna go to a team where granted it's gonna have maybe one at best top 5 receiver, and he's not going to Washington because actually, you know what?
He might.
I love him in Washington.
He might.
I mean, it would just be.
We're in that spot.
Lauren and
we got everybody in front of us.
And Dawson, he's got receivers.
I mean, Drake May's in your future. Don't worry. Okay.
One can only hope. Listen, we got to move on really quickly. We know this is what it is: Michigan versus Washington. We're going to talk about it a little closer to the game, but let's go around really quickly and give our picks on this game. Ben, I'll start with you. Michigan, Washington. Who you got, man?
I think it's going to be a fun game. I just think Michigan's defense is just so good right now, and Blake Corum is him. He's just him. And he's going to run the ball very well. One thing with what Texas did pretty well was run the ball against Washington, with Baxter and those guys. So I expect Corum to do the same thing. Michigan's going to win this game. I'm going to go 27-20.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. All right, Mr. Handy, I know you got to go. What is your pick?
I'm gonna go with. It's gonna be a. I won't. I would say it would be a shootout. The only thing is, has J.J. McCarthy really been in a shootout this season?
Mm-mm.
No. I would say it would be a shootout. I think if it comes down to a shootout, then it's Washington all day. But the way that Michigan's defense played, if the Michigan defense that was on the field yesterday shows up next Monday, this Michigan, and I'm Michigan by a minimum of 10.
Hmm. Hmm. I like it. I like it. Mr. Alec, what you got, man?
See, I'm gonna go with my realistic instead of my fantasy. I'm gonna say it's gonna. I would say it would probably be a shootout, but with how that Michigan defense is, they'll probably like Washington will have their opportunities to score on them.
Mm.
But after a while, I think I see like a second half adjustment where Michigan like starts to adjust to their because that's how Pac-12 is. It's just nonstop running up the scoreboard,
Mm-hmm.
and I see Michigan's defense making a stop in the second half and adjusting, and I see it being a 30-28 Michigan win.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think this is a high flying offense versus a ground and pound, and it's going to be whichever style is able to prevail. And I got to agree with you, Hanny, when I talk about Michigan's defense. That secondary is elite. Sam Still and the young safety, the other corners, those guys are shut down corners. And I want to see that matchup between them and Odunze and McMillan and Polk and those guys. But I think this is going to come down to Michigan controlling the ball. I think Michigan's winning this thing 27-17, and I think Blake Corum's going to have a day. And he's going to do what you have to do to a high-powered offense, keep them off the field. They're going to eat up that clock and make this a low-scoring game. But to your point, all of you, if this game gets run up, you got to give that to Penix. You got to give that to Washington.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
We shall definitely see. Let's move on. Bowl recap. I definitely want to bring Handy. It wasn't much to talk about with this game, so I could fast forward to what he said. You guys.
I mean, if we're talking about what I think we're getting ready to talk about, honestly, I got bored watching it. I'm not. I did. I mean, I was happy that my team was winning. You understand? But I am always one for you, and I have always talked about how back in the day, how I used to hate and love at the same time watching Georgia and Missouri duke it out because Drew Lock was slinging the ball all over the field. Mm-hmm. How the national championship, 2018 national championship, where Georgia and Bama went back and forth, and then it went into overtime, and I like that kind of thing. I like to see Georgia literally in a dogfight. I love seeing the dogs in a dogfight. When we win big, I'm happy for it. But after a while, it was just like, I think they scored a touchdown, and I went in the kitchen to go get something out of the refrigerator, and went in the garage to get something out of the deep freezer, and came back, and the crowd was screaming again. I told them, I said, they scored again. She said, yeah. I was gone for like 3 minutes. I really would have liked to have seen what it would have been like to play Florida State. The Florida State team that went 12-0 at full strength, even without their starting quarterback, because I know there was no way he was going to play. But still, now there was a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say to that point. I'm real quick for you. I know you got to go, so I want to play what Kirby said, so you can get your quick thoughts on what he said.
People need to see what happened tonight, and they need to fix this. It needs to be fixed. It's very unfortunate that they, who has a good football team and a good football program, are in the position they're in. Everybody can say it's their fault, it's their own problem. All right? Everybody can say that we had our guys and they didn't have their guys. I can listen to all of that. But college football has got to decide what they want. And I know things are changing. And I think things are going to change next year. You know what? There's going to still be bowl games outside of those. People got to decide what they want and what they really want to get out of it. Because it's really unfortunate for those kids on that sideline that had to play in that game that didn't have their full arsenal. It affected the game 100%.
You want my 2 cents on that?
What's your 2 cents? And Chris got something for you as well. And then you can head out.
Well, I got to be honest. I heard something today. I agree with Kirby, but I heard something today that made me take a step back and think. Sometimes we get really set in our way of thinking just because that's where we are, not because we're horrible people, but just because we, but then every now and again you have something to give you take a step back. And somebody said, and it was the local sports franchise, the guy said, we have to stop beating up these kids for these decisions that they make, because the number one reason any of these guys are in school is to try and get to the league. If they get hurt, if they blah blah blah, they mess up their chances of getting in the league. Now, to be completely honest, they could get hurt in game one just as easy as they can get hurt in the bowl game. I'm 100% cognizant. But the thing he said that nailed that put the nail in the shipping container was that these schools have taken advantage of these kids since somebody said, hey, we can make a lot of money off of this. And now these kids are taking advantage of the opportunities given to them to make the money and do things like that. Now, I know that's with the NIL, but as far as the kids just like opting out just because they don't want to play, I do think they need to maybe come up with some kind of incentive so that these kids will play. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure after about halfway through the second quarter, there was nobody watching that game but dog fans, and even half of them, like me, were half watching. They had it on, but they were wandering around the house.
Right.
So I think if they come up with some kind of incentive to make it worth these kids while to play, that's what these kids are about.
12-team tournament.
Huh?
12-team tournament.
Well, there's that. Well, there is that. But then next year it'll be the 13 and 14 teams that are crying, oh, we got shafted, and then they're going to opt out of playing in the game. So I do believe I'm with Kirby. The NCAA, nobody's more at fault than the NCAA, because money's been changing hands for a long time. It just every so often they jump up and smack somebody on the hand and make an example, and then they would roll back in their cave. If the NCAA had gotten ahead of this, instead of just saying, let the Supreme Court decide, and then the Supreme Court decided, and now here we are in year 2. Mind you, this is only year 2 of NIL. Now you got kids just say, I don't want to play here this year. I'm going to go play over here because they got 1.5. I'm making one here. I got 1.5. I'm going over here. Kids are opting out. That kind of thing. Quinn Ewers, perfect example. Quinn Ewers went to Ohio State, got $1 million bag, and then said, thanks a bunch. I'm going to play for Texas. So if the
he knew he wasn't going to start.
Right. But if the NCAA had taken control of this and gotten in front of it, maybe we wouldn't be having this. Maybe they could have come up with some, but they don't want to do the work. Anyway,
they didn't want this to come out. They were doing it all hush hush and holding this stuff over people. Now all of a sudden,
right? Because and that was the thing that kept the kids in place, because they were like, well, if I leave, then I lose. If I tell somebody, I lose the scholarship. And you see what they did to made a big example of Reggie Bush. Get that man his Heisman Trophy back, doggone it. Man out here hawking Wendy's hamburgers 12 years after he played it down in the NFL, but that's a different story for a different day. Now, Reverend Red and Black watched the game. Had a lot of it was good to watch the dogs on the field. You understand? The dogs, I was disappointed they couldn't get to the PFC. No, that's the Army, right? They couldn't get to the CF. No, that's what Schomber, you a PFC in it? No, you SPC, whatever it is. The dogs could not get to the playoffs this year. But I am never without joy when I can see the men who wear the red and black be rallied around by those who support them, yelling, go, dogs, stick 'em, roo, 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 on their way to victory. And I got to go because I got to get over here. I got a sermon I got to preach at the other House of Faith, Second Mount Zion Missionary Pentecostal by the side of the road that I say Mount Zion. I got to get over there. But God bless y'all and go dogs.
My God, man. Hallelujah, man. Yeah, and I'm in a church too, so that's hilarious. If I get struck, you know what's going on. But All right, Andy, we'll let you go,
I'll put a
man.
little something on your Aflac.
Don't say
All right,
Affleck,
man. Appreciate you,
right?
bud.
Y'all take care. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, buddy. Oh man. But so hey, Ben, I'll bring it back to you as the other team, as the team that Kirby was talking about from that. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, he has a point, but what were your thoughts?
No, I think he has a good point. The NCAA should have got to this a lot sooner, but they didn't. They kind of let it go out of control. But it is what it is now. Next year we're gonna have a 12-team playoff. But see, like Anthony said, the 13th and 14th team you complain when they don't get in. It's like, I don't want to bring it to college basketball, but I was going to say when we went to 64 to 68, now the 69th or 70, the 70th team is going to complain. They didn't get it. So there's always going to be complaining, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try to, satisfy, everybody, in all fields. There's always going to be complaining. And that's just my opinion on that. But as far as the game goes, I mean, there's really nothing to say. I don't want to get into stats and everything. I think what disappointed me, and I posted it, Mike Norvell. There's a difference. Kirby Smart wanted to do it for the seniors, and that's what he did. They did it for the seniors to win this game, and they proved to tell the committee, "Hey, you shouldn't have left us out." All Mike Norvell did, and I like the guy, I really do. All he did was complain. All he did was, kind of a poor me, poor us. You screwed us. Now I get it. They deserve to be there. I could have lived with like a 40 to 17 or a 45 to 10.
Yeah.
Score.
Yeah.
But to lose 66 to 3,
yeah.
To me, that tells me you didn't care. And players, they're a reflection of their coach. To me, that reflection, and I don't want to hear all the the 20 some odd players that the Verses, the Bless Harrises, the Bensons, all that. I don't want to hear it. Yes, they opted out, but those guys, it just seemed like, where was the pride?
Right.
It just seemed like they gave up. I turned it off in the third quarter. I didn't see anybody focused or anything. It was just like, okay, we're here.
Right.
Where Georgia, it was like, okay, we got something to prove, even with so many starters out. And that's a reflection on coaching. Yep. Kirby Smart wanted to do this for his seniors. You hear it in his voice. You hear it in his demeanor. Mike Norvell's demeanor was just a lot of slumping, just, nothing. It's like almost like it was a funeral, going to a funeral instead of actually being in a bowl game. That's my take on this game.
Well, no, I think that's a great point. I mean, I don't have anything to add on to that because I thought that was, you said it right there. I mean, let's not act like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, we weren't talking about Mike Norvell being on the hot seat. You know what I mean? And then him being able to have Jordan Travis and Benson and all these guys excel to the level that they have and staying in, and that was a huge part of it. But to your point, like, I understand people are opting out, but you still got players. You still got guys that are still dressing up that are proud to wear the FSU. That just looked like the FSU from all those years that we said, where have you been? Like, that's the type of stuff that I can't. I'm with you. I can't get on board with that.
Yeah, and plus, like, if you're saying, they're so biased with the SEC, well, you didn't help them out there by showing that crap performance. You just made it worse. And I'm sorry, man. Have some pride. Just at least go out there and show me, hey, okay, we kind of care about playing this game, and you didn't. And that's what was disappointing to me.
Yeah. In FSU got treated like a G5 team and they came for them. Sorry for your luck. FSU had no more right to be there in the oh wow.
No, I respect his honesty. Like, look at Liberty. I mean, they were out. They weren't going to beat Oregon. but they tried. They're like, man, we're playing in the Fiesta Bowl. Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is a big moment for us.
This
Okay.
Scott. That's
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Missouri played better. Ohio State played better than we did.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even feel like they wanted to be there, but
Right.
some of them did.
They still showed up. Hey, but look, speaking of Liberty, Alec, it wasn't a game, man. You told us that this was going to be a game. You had a bunch of people opting out, but you still had Bo Nix, and you still destroyed them. How you feel, man? Quack, quack.
It's crazy how oh my gosh.
I'm doing it after the game now, all right? I'm doing it after the game.
It's New Year, is that your New Year's resolution?
Yes. I'm not winning. I can't do it before the game. I haven't won yet. All right.
Like going into like that, I was watching the first drive, like because before the game, I looked more in depth of who we were missing, and we were missing a lot of key players in the trenches and a lot of key players in the defensive line side. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, this could either go good for us or it can go bad for us. Good for us, where the players can the players that are there now are the ones that are transitioning to be starting D line players next year. And I just kept seeing Liberty just attack every weakness that we had in the first half. And I was like, if Oregon doesn't answer back, this could go bad for us. Because the one thing that kills us, our defense, is quarterbacks throwing that slant route, those quick passes, and our corners. Which I hope that one corner's on our team next year. I forgot what his name was. I hope he gets cut, transfer portal, something, because he was getting burnt. And he said he should have been the number one corner the whole season. He has his first moment of glory. I'll find the name later on.
Right.
But granted, I give it was sad seeing Bo Nix's last game with us, because I feel for him like that game against Washington not only hurt them, that when that game happened, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be Bo Nix's chance of redemption. Like he even said it. He's like, I don't care about the opt out for the draft. This is the game I love to play. And I'm not going to go out there and leave my guys behind. I'm going to play that game like I have with them all season. And I give him credit. Like, granted, I wish we would have been in the CFB, but the cards were in our favor, like it is every year for us. I don't know what omen we've cursed in the college football world, but I hope that curse is ending soon. And then even I loved that ESPN opened up that story that no one knew about him and Bo Nix and Tez Johnson. Like I'm glad that people now see like Bo Nix is
Isn't that where he moved in with him or something?
Yeah. It's like that's what play like. That's why I agree with Kirby Smart in that situation. Like players, like I get it. Like players opt out for the draft. I get that. Like you don't want to get injured because the previous players they play the bowl games, they get injured, and they mess up their draft stock. But seeing like that whole team just like say fuck it one last time,
yeah,
it brought back the Marcus Mariota that when we had him, the Justin Herbert when we had him, because we all know two quarterbacks that didn't do that shit for us. Oh, do that stuff for us. My bad. Anthony Brown and Vernon Adams. They didn't do anything for us. I'll go ahead and say it. That's why I lost respect for him. And I enjoy the win. Shirts on the way, on order. And hopefully next year with Dylan Gabriel is a good one. I hope, and then even in that we have reassurance with Dante Moore for the following season. And it's been
must be nice to reload like that at quarterback, Alec.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you think about it, if you were a quarterback and then you see what Bo Nix does and what Dan Lanning has changed that program to be,
Mm-hmm.
like at first, like I have my arguments with myself with Dan Lanning's call by like play calling, but what he's done to this program, he's not finished. He's not even 10% done, not even 10% started. He's building that road that Oregon should have like this is the program I remember when we had Chip Kelly, when we had Mark Helfrich. Like that's the Oregon that I've known since I was 10. The team that I've cheered for every Saturday since I was 10.
Oh yeah.
And seeing this program where it's at, even if it wasn't a CFB, watch out for them because Dan Lanning's not done. That's the scary part. He's not done.
I can dig it. I can dig it, man. Hey, I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. And next year, look, 12 teams. 12 teams. This is the last year for the CFP. We know the final matchup, and it's going to be a great one. But next year, we have 12 teams. You talked about 13 and 14 being like, oh, we're left out. But at this point, you're like, nah, we're not thinking about that. If you couldn't get in the top 12, you ain't deserve to be in the first place. You know what I mean? So now next year, hopefully this opt-out stuff will at least be minimal because more teams will want to play. And then the other teams that didn't make it, I mean, there's only a couple that might have been on the cusp, but then you got other teams that are lower, the MAC conference, the Mountain West, all these other still smaller conferences that, you know, they still field most of their players. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't brought up the elephant in the room. Watch out for FSU next year. DJ.
Oh yes. Yes. How you feel about that, Ben?
I'm fine with it. You know, it's going to be interesting because DJ's more of a pro style quarterback.
Yeah.
And usually Mike Norvell's offense is an RPO, you know, smaller quarterback, like his quarterbacks to run the ball as well as throw the ball. You know, I think Cam Ward would have been a better fit in that, but he declared for the NFL draft. So instead, you got DJ Ungolele, who knows the ACC. He was at Clemson. You know, so that's kind of an advantage for him. Yes, we will be in the ACC next year. So, you know, at least for now. But no, I think it's going to be good. I was kind of disappointing, though. I wish we could have got to see was a Keon Coleman with the DJ, you know, could throw that deep ball, you know, Coleman's speed, you know, out in the open, you know, man, I would have loved to have seen something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? But it's okay. You know, Portier, he's an up and comer for us. You know, he played pretty well for us in the Orange Bowl. The only bright spot, really, you know, Brock Lynn was able to get him a few passes. So Portier's got some promise. So we'll see. I you know, I'm fine with it. I mean, you got an experienced quarterback, knows the ACC. Got some tough games next year too. You know, we're at Notre Dame. We're going to play Clemson in Florida State, so he's got to go to Miami. So yeah, it's good to have that experience, you know, with the quarterback. You know, I'm going to miss Jordan Travis, but you know, JJ's a nice replacement.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel, DJ, and I get Max Johnson. I go from a number 2 overall pick to Max Johnson.
Okay.
So
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Marion Hampton, however, will be coming back. Marion Hampton was top 5 in rushing this year and actually was a great help to the offense. It took a lot of pressure off of Drake May. So I'm eager to see what he does. Tez Walker did declare for the draft, and obviously Drake did as well. And a number of our pieces have. But I am interested to see how the transfer portal plays out and everything. And, you know, but the other part about it is I got to be realistic, man. Like, I don't know how long Mac is going to coach. You know, I love seeing him on the sidelines, but there are times, especially when it gets cold, where I'm like, can you please put an extra coat on or something, man? Like, I don't want you to freeze out there. Like, you know?
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, I don't know. He's got Carolina blood. That's just, you know, keeps him warm, you know.
Exactly. But look, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and head out We after this definitely want you guys to watch Let's Talk Football, the roundtable. They're going to talk playoffs. Kyle Yacy's going to be on there, talk about his Falcons and the Bears beating them. So definitely tune into that and take a look. But look, want to shout out my guys, Ben Cornett and Mr. Alec Schomber. I appreciate you guys coming in here. Not sure where Alec is. I'm assuming he had to work or something like that, but he'll definitely be on with us next time. We got to get his thoughts on his team being one step away from being there. So,
I got the name for you, by the way. Roderick Pleasant. If I see you on the roster next year, buddy, better learn Chinese, buddy, because you ain't playing football.
Wow, there it is. All right, Mr. Pleasant.
Yeah, he was a freshman. He said that he deserved the starting spot all season over a famous name that should be way better. He said he was better than Steve Stevens. That's what it was. He said he deserved that. He should have had that spot since the beginning of the season because he was like a 4-star or 5-star, and he said he shouldn't be staying behind anybody else. And he got the first play. I think it was like the first drive. Dude got burned.
There it is.
That's why you're not a starter.
There it is. Look, we're going to go ahead and head out. We appreciate you guys watching. Chris, Scott, a bunch of you. I think Kat was on here in the comments. Definitely stay tuned to what we got going on, and we will definitely see you guys next time. Hey, for me, your boy Sean Spencer, Alex Loosemore, but also Ben Cornett and Alec Schomberg. We appreciate you watching.
W down week.
Guys, take care, guys.
Let's go.
College Football Update. It's with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.